whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right? I'll holla. Peace.
Hi, I'm attorney Gavin M. Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Zelle, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. That was the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. That is available now on Amazon Kindle, ladies and gentlemen. The place to me is right here at me. It is Random Topic Tuesdays, the hottest live stream on YouTube, and we shall discuss the following. Harry Styles, King of Pop Tarts. CPS caseworker fired for encouraging a child to be a prostitute. 3 Arkansas officers suspended pending an investigation for police brutality. And a breaking news, no charges against the officers in the Rayshard Brooks killing. All this and more tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get those likes up. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, please do so. We want you all to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We also would ask if you can contribute to our channel, if you would donate to the Cash App, Google Pay, and PayPal and Zelle, ladies and gentlemen. We'd also ask if you could check out our website, noniscreoleblends.com. If you want to order you some Creole seasoning, chard on chicken, meat, or fish, Noni's goes great with every dish. And subscribe to our Facebook page at Commonwealth Cause as well. We're going to go ahead and get started. Of course, we like to play our music a little bit to get started. We have Gotta Get On Up in Video Soul, which are available now on Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, before we get on down, it is time to get on up. Let's do it.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got.
At Vikings, we are proud to have been
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you.
We are following the breaking news.
Like I'm feeling, so come on, baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the party. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on, baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Gotta get on. Come on, baby. Gotta get on. Baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Gavin Richard Presents Random Topic Tuesdays. whoever you are, wherever you are. Hope you are blessed and doing safe. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. I know I was pushing the time back. I had a very long day, very busy, but let's go on and get into this. I had 3 topics planned, but this apparently occurred earlier this evening. Breaking news there. It was announced earlier today, a few hours ago actually, that there would be no charges against the officers involved in the Rayshard Brooks killing. Now, for those of you who may recall, or you may not recall, I should say, Rayshard Brooks was a 27-year-old black man that was killed out in Atlanta. Let me make sure. Can you all hear me loud and clear? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. I see we got 12 people here, and I'm seeing people aren't putting anything in the comment box, y'all. Come on. I know we got more people here. We got a lot of people on. We got people on Facebook. We got people on the 2 YouTube channels. I know we got people watching on Periscope. I need y'all to give me a comment. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Do I sound muffled or anything like that? I need to know. Since nobody is saying anything and I see people are watching, I'm just going to go ahead. Let's move forward. So, what happened, of course, with Rayshard Brooks? Rayshard Brooks was a 27-year-old black man that was shot by the police outside of a Wendy's in Atlanta back in 2020. Brooks was apparently under the influence of alcohol and was obviously over the limit. Cops attempted to arrest him, and he fought the police off and ran. And during the confrontation, he grabbed the taser from the officers running away from them and shot a taser off at them, which missed. However, one of the officers still opened fire on Rayshard Brooks. And the 2 officers that were involved were Devin Bronson and Garrett Wolf. Wolf was the one who shot and killed Rayshard Brooks. Now, earlier today, Pete Scandalakis, who is the executive director of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia, I believe he was appointed as the special prosecutor because this man, originally Paul Howard, who was the district attorney of Atlanta, had instigated prosecution against these 2 officers. And then, of course, Paul Howard was removed from office in an election season, and your Fannie Willis became the DA. And it came out, and everybody knows I talked about this. Your Fannie Willis is the one who was receiving donations from the police department during the election season. And Atlanta, I got to say this, I put this in the tweet. Atlanta, aside from dropping halftime leads during Super Bowls, they apparently dropped the ball on this one. They're good at dropping cases. They dropped a big one. Atlanta is, as even your Jason Black has talked about, they fumbled the bag. This Atlanta is supposed to be the Black Mecca. The Atlanta that Maynard Jackson built. Maynard Jackson. Look at all the lines of the black mayors that have come out of Atlanta. From Maynard Jackson, Andrew Young, who was Ambassador Young. You had Kasim Reed, Keisha Bottom B. Keisha Bottom B. It's my Jason Black voice. All of these black mayors, and what has that gotten us? Maynard Jackson did a lot for Atlanta. He revitalized that airport. He made sure he made sure, he didn't say minorities, he said blacks, got 80% of those contracts to revitalize and build that airport. I actually got to see Maynard Jackson the year before he was speaking at the One Hot Men convention. And in Atlanta, actually. No, it was in Florida. I'm sorry. Orlando, Florida. But what good has that done and gotten black people? Now, I'm going to play this. This is from CBS News. So copyright disclaimer. Let's put that up. And it's right there. Fair use fair use is being used. So just before we play the video, I want to show you these pictures right here. That is your Rayshard Brooks, and that's Garrett Wolf. Now, this is the press conference.
In Georgia, the special prosecutor overseeing the criminal case against two officers charged in relation to the death of Rayshard Brooks is not pursuing charges against them.
He announced earlier today the case has been dropped.
Brosnan and Rolfe committed no crimes. Both acted as reasonable officers would under the facts and circumstances of the events of that night. Both acted in accordance with well-established law and were justified in the use of force regarding the situation.
Officer Garrett Rolfe fatally shot Brooks outside of a Wendy's restaurant in Atlanta in June of 2020. He and Officer Devin Brosnan tried to arrest Brooks after he failed a sobriety test, fought with them, and took one of their tasers. The 27-year-old's death sparked protests across Atlanta and beyond against police brutality and racial injustice.
A former Kentucky police detective has pleaded guilty to charges stemming from the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor. Kelly Goodlett admitted to one count of conspiracy to violate Taylor's civil rights. Goodlett was accused of helping falsify the warrant which led to the botched raid on Taylor's apartment in March of 2020. She's expected to testify against other defendants involved in the case.
She only got 5 years, too, by the way. Now, you saw how that prosecutor, you saw how he was reading it, the script. This was prepared, ladies and gentlemen. This was prepared. Call me a conspiracy. The fact that I don't think it has a connection, but I do find it interesting that on the same day they announced that there are not going to be any charges against these two officers. Your Rayshard Brooks against Rayshard, for what they did to Rayshard Brooks. I don't think it's a coincidence that on today that woman pleaded for her role in the for lying about on Breonna Taylor when she falsified that when she conspired with those officers to cover it up. So she's testifying against the other defendants that were in the case. So she turned state's evidence. So she's the one that lied on the search warrant, this Louisville detective. I don't think it's Kelly Goodlett. Kelly Goodlett.
For the first time, a former LMPD police officer has been convicted of charges related to the death of Breonna Taylor. Good Tuesday evening, I'm Stefan Dingle.
And I'm Jennifer Bayless. Kelly Goodlett pleaded guilty today in federal court to one count of conspiracy.
That's right. Our Mark Vanderhoff was in the courtroom today and joins us live in studio tonight.
And Mark,
explain to us and viewers at home the impact of this officer's role in the case.
Yes, fine, Jennifer. In court, former LMPD officer Kelly Goodlett admitted that she and Officer Joshua James made false statements to secure the search warrant for Breonna Taylor's home. And she admitted to working with James to try to cover it up. U.S. Attorney Merrick Garland announced federal charges against 4 former LMPD officers earlier this month. Those officers, Kelly Goodlett, Joshua James, Kyle Meany, and Brett Hankison, all face federal charges for their roles in the raid on Breonna Taylor's home in May 2020. Taylor was shot and killed. According to court documents, Goodlett and James lied when they said they verified a suspected drug dealer was receiving packages at Taylor's home and using her apartment as his home address. Prosecutors say Meany knew those were false statements, but approved their probable cause affidavit anyway. Hankison is being charged with unconstitutionally excessive force for the shots he fired the night of the raid. Several of those bullets entered the apartments of Taylor's neighbors. Goodlett's plea deal is sealed. The terms were not disclosed in court today, so we don't know for sure whether Goodlett will testify against James and Meany, but it's worth noting that the judge said her November 22nd sentencing could very well be delayed due to, quote, extenuating circumstances. In the meantime, Goodlett will remain out of jail until she's formally sentenced.
She's testifying. She's testifying. My experience, if that's that, yeah, she's agreed to turn state's evidence for whatever reason. Let me say this about that. Yeah, so I don't think it's a coincidence that came out today. and then we have this. And I'm wondering what's going on in Atlanta. Is Atlanta still Magic City with uh, chicken and waffles, Ludacris with chicken and beer? You know, I've been to Atlanta many times. What is Atlanta doing right now? I want to know, because Atlanta was on fire 2 years ago. So what's happening to Atlanta right now? What are they doing? How they reacted to this? This was supposed to be the new Black Mecca, remember? And these pigs basically have gotten away with murder, in my opinion. Now, you heard what that prosecutor was saying in that press conference when he said that he did a frame by frame analysis. They always do this. And my problem with prosecutors like this is a prosecutor is supposed to represent the state, not the defense. As a defense attorney, that's our job, of course. And yes, it's our job to show the prosecutors why they're wrong in a case. However, if there's no agreement that can be made, it goes to the jury. That's what the jury can decide. Why can't a jury decide whether they thought it was reasonable or not? Mr. Skandalakis. He's saying, I don't believe the shooting was racially motivated, and contrasted with the killings of Floyd and Arbery. He said Black lives do matter. I understand the encounters between the community at times can be very volatile, but I would ask them to look at the facts of this case, and this isn't one of those cases. This is a case in which the officers were willing to give Mr. Brooks every benefit of the doubt, and unfortunately, by his actions, this is what happened. And this also, so first off, no. Under Georgia law, and he knows this, a taser is not considered a deadly weapon. Rayshard Brooks was shot in his back. Now, this is the special prosecutor that was brought in, but I got to say this, Black people, what happened to Black Girl Magic? Y'all wanted Black Girl Magic. You got Fannie Willis in there, who's locking up rappers, but not officers. You got Black Girl Magic. Now it's Black Girl Tragic, like Dr. Short would say. This is on y'all. Y'all didn't show up to vote. I'm gonna go there. Y'all didn't show up to vote. You put them because you wanted Sister Girl. You didn't like Paul Howard. The man was doing something. I donated money on his campaign here in New Orleans. The man was trying to do something. Y'all ousted him. And I know some people that they say, well, he wasn't, I heard he wasn't sincere. Doesn't matter. He initiated it. Once he initiated, he had probable cause in his mind that something happened. So what this means is all of those protests, all of the rioting, when they knocked out the windows at CNN, when that Wendy's burned down, and you had T.I. coming out trying to say, Atlanta, this ain't us. This is our Mecca. What does that get you now? Remember those kids? Remember when Keisha Bottom B, those kids that got shocked, that had their car damaged, that were tasered by those pigs, those officers, when Keisha Bottom B had that curfew put in place. So all of this is for nothing. That's what I understand. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm seeing. Y'all supporting this? This officer's wrong with the case. Y'all cool with this? She had to step down, Fannie Willis, because she had ties with those officers. And this is what was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. She wanted off the Rayshard Brooks case. Remember, I talked about this. She played Pontius Pilate because she knew there was a conflict with those attorneys for those two officers. She tried to blame it on Howard for using the video evidence in a campaign ad. Saying he prejudiced. No. Because you know why I say that? Well, here's the problem I have with that. Why didn't y'all do that with Bill Cosby? The prosecutor in that case, Kevin Steele, used old charges in a campaign ad, charges that had never been, not even charges, accusations, I could say, that had never been substantiated in a court of law. No criminal charges, those civil suits. He had one suit and those women came in, and that was on the Andrea Constant one. That's why they came in. They thought they could get the bag. She wanted to transfer not only from the Brooks killing, but also from the excessive force case involving 6 other officers. But it was reported that Willis had the attorney for one of those officers donated to her campaign. I'm not making it up. I read it. I had read it. I remember reading that they had a donation that was made. Now, that's not illegal or unethical if it was, but when you listen to that, obviously it does seem perhaps it would have been inappropriate for her to take the case. But she said she wanted off of it because she blamed it on Paul Howard. Now, I know Brother Chris Stewart. Now, listen to what the family, the attorneys had to say. I'm going to play that right quick because I want to move into some other topics.
Sadly, we find ourselves behind this podium far too often. And it's really just to fight for people when something has been done wrong. Doesn't matter, black, white, whatever. We've had white clients who have been the victims of police brutality. Some of the best advice I ever got was from Andrew Young, who told me, never get out to fight and speak up when people won't speak. And today's decision, it's not about the finding. It's about the process. Because what we have now seen, the entire world has seen, is one finding from a district attorney, pictures, exhibits, breakdowns of videos, finding guilt, finding them at fault. And then today, we watch, as a world, as a community, another district attorney or prosecutor finding totally different results from the same facts. And all of you can understand, no matter what you look like, how that's confusing. How is that possible? And we hear the veiled comments of, oh, the first investigation was done for political reasons, but you can't prove that. We could say the same thing about today, but we won't do that. We won't be that disrespectful to the special prosecutor. So the confusion looms. And what we also try and look at as a law firm, because we have that responsibility, is just the facts. The facts that actually matter. Yes, there was a fight. They went through it today. There was a very bad confrontation. No person in this country should fight with police officers. No one. Ever. Because during that fight, they were justified in using deadly force, 100%. While he was on top of them, they didn't know if he was reaching for a gun or whatever. They could have used deadly force, and I would have backed any officer that did it. But they did not. They did not. They chose not to when they were justified. But they decided to use lethal force as a man was running away 19 feet away. And the key important thing in that is not just that officer deciding that I'm about to take a life when I don't have to. Is the key thing that the special prosecutor said himself today, which is the confusing part. Officer Law may not have understood that paper had been fired twice. That would not be something that he was processing. And because he's not processing that, it's still a deadly weapon. Well, what the officer knew or did not know, it's not the law. At that point, what the special prosecutor confirmed today is it wasn't a deadly weapon when he was killed. That's from their words, not ours. And getting into the mind of the officer what should have or what he knew or didn't know, all we're asking is that the community resolves these situations when it's a close call and it goes to a grand jury.
Right, it goes to a jury. And that's what Chris is saying. Let the community decide whether or not they thought the force was reasonable. If you're alleging self-defense, proven in court, like you do with our people all the time. Here in New Orleans in particular, there are a lot of murder charges that get thrown on people who are claiming self-defense. And guess what? The officers just don't take their words for it. The state just doesn't take their word for it. They make them go to court. They drag them in an orange jumpsuit and stand before the judge, and the judge will hand down whatever bail is appropriate, and then they either got to sit in jail for months and months on end because the cases get continued often, and then on top of that, they're going to have to wait, if they don't have money, on an attorney to speak with their public defender. And it takes time. And then there has to be strategy as to a jury.
My law partner is going to get more in depth about it. Letting the people decide. That's what the family expected in this situation when you have one prosecutor say one thing, and we already knew what the decision was going to be today. And letting the people decide. So was it wrong? Yes. Did he have to take his life? No. At the point that he fired the weapon, was he immediately in danger for his life of something that is argued about, is it deadly, is it not? What if it was mace? Could he have killed him then? So we're heartbroken, confused, but not angry. No person out there should be angry. This isn't a time for unrest or division.
People should be angry.
This isn't a time to accuse every officer out there of being a bad cop, because that's just not true. There are phenomenal police officers out there in APD and across this country, people we depend on every day for our lives. But we have a responsibility to speak up when something wrong has occurred. So we're destroyed by the announcement today. And we'll continue our fight in civil court, because that seems to be the only place that we can get justice, possibly, depending on the city of Atlanta and its leadership. And I'll let my law partner, Justin Miller, elaborate on the case. He has talked to Tamika Miller and let you know what she has said. And I'll let
I'm not going to play all of it because I want to get it.
We have an up-close look at the suspected Midtown shooters.
Decide what's going on. You don't need to shoot someone in the back when they're 19 feet in front of you. This is what we already knew they were going to say.
They didn't say anything new. They didn't show us anything different. They showed us in detail that he won the fight. Okay, should he have been fighting with the police? Absolutely not. And like Chris said, at that time, if they had killed him, we wouldn't all be here today. But they didn't. He won the fight and he tried to get away. And they felt whatever way they felt, not even they, I'm sorry, Officer Rolfe felt whatever way Officer Rolfe felt and decided to shoot him in the back. Whatever else it is, whatever else happened before, he was shot in the back, 19 feet away. Now, we have seen over the last few years, school shooters, mass shooters, people shooting up churches. Many of these people were taken into custody without incident. They definitely were not killed. So how is it that some of these people who shoot and kill many, many, many people can get taken in without incident? But Rayshard Brooks, who beat up 2 police officers, which is bad, we all know that is bad, who is running down Metropolitan Avenue. They went into his toxicology report. They said he had this in the system and that in the system and that in the system. And we'll talk about that in a second. But you have a guy who you're saying is drunk, he's on drugs, and he's running away from you. So you can't catch a drunk guy on drugs running down Metropolitan Avenue. You have to shoot him in the back. But people who kill 10 and 20 people, they can be taken in without incident. We all know this is ridiculous. Why are we letting them tell us that this is okay? Because it's not. Let's talk about the drugs. They went into detail at the very end about the drugs that were in his system, the drugs that were in his car.
Well, that's what they
Why
got
did
to do.
they go
They got to
into that?
demonize
Because
the
they
victim.
wanted to sound like he was a hulking threat. He was a huge, drugged up guy who beat them up and they had no choice but to kill him. That's not true. Here's a choice. Take your L. Then use all the tools at your disposal to go find him, lock him up. Let the criminal justice process do its job.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. A jury should decide this case. That's the bottom line. Not 6 people who we don't know who they are. They were asked a question earlier. Were there any Black people in this decision-making process? Now, the answer to that question surprised me because, not because I didn't know, because there were no Black people, but because I didn't know who the other 4 people were. So were they a representative jury of Fulton County? Were they a jury of Officer Rolfe's peers? A jury of people like Rayshard Brooks? Absolutely not. And when it's that close to call, right? We've been here for 2 years. They have been deciding if they're going to prosecute this for 2 years. When it's that close to call, you let a jury decide. That's why we have a jury system in America. But today, we did not get a jury. We did not get a choice. The people of Fulton County didn't get to decide whether or not this was right or if this was wrong. And that in and of itself is wrong.
Sadly, I'm going to disagree with you, Brother Miller. People in Fulton County did decide when they didn't keep Paul Howard. That's the tragic part. I'll wrap it up. I don't want to play the rest of it because I want to get to some other topics. But my thoughts go out to his wife, Tamika Miller, and their children. This has got to be a difficult thing. I'll leave it at that. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Darius from Atlanta. What's up, Darius? Let's talk about this next thing. Sticking with the police, 3 Arkansas officers have been suspended pending an investigation for police brutality. You all probably have seen this video that has been going viral right now.
KJ, thanks so much. Developing right now, 3 officers in Arkansas under investigation after a violent arrest of a South Carolina man is caught on camera. We do want to warn you that what you're about to watch, it's disturbing.
Yeah, it is graphic.
NBC's Blaine Alexander has the latest.
Copyright free.
Well, the video itself is less than a minute long, but it shows a violent encounter between 3 officers and a suspect. Now, in a statement, the mayor of that Arkansas town says that he was shocked and sickened by what he saw in the video. And we do have to warn you, that video is disturbing to watch.
This is bad.
It is the shocking video that has been viewed millions of times. This morning, Arkansas State Police are investigating a violent arrest that was caught on camera. According to state police, in the video are 2 Crawford County Sheriff's deputies and a Mulberry police officer. The video appears to show them pinning a man down during an altercation and repeatedly punching and kneeing him to the head and body. And at one point, one of the officers appears to slam the man's head into the ground multiple times. The incident took place Sunday morning outside of a convenience store. At the end of the video, one of the officers appears to point at the camera. Throughout the day, police had been on the lookout for the suspect, identified as 27-year-old Randall Worcester of South Carolina, after he allegedly spit on a store clerk and made what officers called terroristic threats in a nearby town. While it is unclear what happened before the start of the video, Worcester was quickly transported to an area hospital and was later released and taken into custody. His condition is unclear. Worcester is now facing a slew of charges, including battery, resisting arrest, and refusal to submit. All 3 officers involved have been suspended. In a statement, the Crawford County Sheriff says in part, "I hold all my employees accountable for their actions and will take appropriate measures in this matter." A statement from Mulberry Police says the department will take the appropriate actions at the conclusion of the investigation.
And state police say that once their investigation is complete, they will turn the case over to the county prosecutor to determine whether any charges will be filed. Back to you.
Oh, they're going to file charges. We know why. Mr. Rochester has the he has the color for
Worcester is now faced.
Look how swollen his face is. It looks like he had plastic surgery and just was recovering. It's bad. Yeah, but Andy Griffin and Barney Fife wouldn't whip your ass, and if you did, you would just go kill yourself if you got beat up by Don Knotts. This is awful. I watched the video. I hate to see anybody, first and foremost, beat up. I don't care if they're black or white, to be pulverized like this man was. And yeah, they treated him. Yeah, they beat the brakes off of him. It was disturbing to watch. Very disturbing to watch. And excuse me. These 3 officers who have been suspended, their names are Mulberry. So this was 2 deputies and 1 officer. So the deputies from Crawford County's Sheriff's Office, Zach King and Levi White, and the Mulberry officer, Thel Riddle. They all have been suspended pending an investigation, and they say it is cooperating. The Sheriff's Office said it's cooperating with all aspects of the investigation and will make a statement to the public at a later time. This guy has been charged, though, with assault in the 2nd degree, terroristic threatening in 1st degree, criminal mischief in the 2nd degree, possessing instrument of criminal trespass, resisting arrest, refusal to submit to arrest, assault in the 1st degree, and battery in the 2nd degree. You can look at these charges here, right there. I'll just post it for you here. You can see that. We're not going to play the video again for time's sake because we already saw it from what was there. Yeah, they just slammed his head concrete over and over again. You know, I don't know what the details were. I don't have to, you know, of course, as an attorney, you always want to know. And, you know, as a general rule, I always say someone is innocent until proven guilty. But on paper, and just from what we have seen, it does not look good for the officers based off what I saw. Now, I don't doubt, or I don't know the details of what crimes Mr. Rochester may have committed. If he spat on someone in their face, by all means, they had every right to go and pick him up if he had warrants for an arrest. Yes, they had every right to go pick him up. And yes, if he was resisting, they will and can use force. And let me just do a disclaimer. I'm not giving out legal advice. I am an attorney, but I did not create an attorney-client relationship with anybody. But for sure, when you have a situation like this, if you are stopped by the police and they do detain you and you resist, you jerk away, you pull away, you say no, they can throw these charges on you. I know so because I see it all the time in court. It's a resisting an officer. It's a very, in Louisiana, and it's a very broad statute. It's very broad. Even jerking away is considered resisting. You could be charged with that, although it may be a misdemeanor. But if you fight an officer, if you commit a battery, they add the charges up. If you scratch them, they'll add the charges up to violence, resisting with violence and things of that nature. They got to pad it up so they can put it in their police report. It does happen. Somebody beat my ass like that, I'm going to resist too. Yeah, I mean, you just look at it, he looks like a wax statue. Just look at that. Madame Tussauds wax statue. Doesn't he look like, I'm not trying to make fun of what happened to him, but that's just awful what they did to this man. So, and let me say this too. I hate when they start talking about they're going to investigate. How can you trust an investigation of a department if the people in the department are the ones accused of doing it, of doing the crime? How can you trust them? It's like with these officers that killed Brooks. The states, as you know, the state works with the police department. They all are representatives of the state, of the government. They work together. They work together, so you can't honestly trust them to be reasonable in their decision making. They can't be ethical. In my opinion, it'd be hard. I'm not saying that there aren't who could do an honest job, by no means, but the appearance of impropriety reeks when we see things like this. Whenever there's a police involved shooting, I know 90% of the time or better, they're looking for a way for the cop to get off. They work closely with these officers. They work, the prosecutors, the prosecution police, they work together. It's their job to build a charge against the individual, against the citizen. That's how it works. So I'm not shocked by this. Am I shocked and surprised by this? No. With Rayshard Brooks? No, I'm not shocked by it. My shock would happen with, I think the thing with George Floyd, the reason why those officers got convicted was because it was on tape and everybody, black and white, saw it. Even the most conservative of conservatives, Pat Robertson, even said that the officer was wrong because the man was cuffed. You need an independent, it needs to be done by a completely independent board of investigators that, let's say the state that's paid privately in some way, shape, or form. They get paid for their time, and they got to look into this stuff. That's how I think this has to be. If you feel me, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We're going to move on. I got a couple of more things to talk about briefly, but we're going to be monitoring that story in Arkansas. But I got to talk about this because this was brought to my attention. This CPS caseworker who was fired because she encouraged this child to be a prostitute. Now, this video that the girl was recording unbeknownst to the CPS worker, caught her outside basically trying to get food. She was asking for food. She was, I believe, taken away from her mother and was living in a foster area or in a hotel, if I'm not mistaken, since she needed food. And the CPS worker was caught telling her to basically be a hoe. Now, we're going to go ahead and play this clip. Now, it was so bad, you're going to see what happened when the head of the CPS out in, this was in Texas, by the way. This was out in Houston. He came out, he had to fly all the way out to meet the family to personally apologize to them. You need to see, you're going to wait to see this. Hold on.
And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored.
Oh, my
Imagine a state worker tell.
What the fuck is this? Chris Stewart.
Telling a 14-year-old foster child to sell her body if she wants to eat. That's exactly what a Houston family says a now fired Child Protective Services worker did. The 14-year-old, who is in the custody of the state, recorded the conversation and handed it over to her mother and their attorney. Take a listen.
I want to spend my money for you to live with some let him feed you. That's how my mama taught me. Don't be a real my man. People been broke me. But I'm just old now, so I'm days gone. I got a child. But yeah, I can tell you.
So, Keisha, when your daughter first told you, the CPS, this state worker, told her to go out and prostitute, what did you think?
I was like really blown away. Like I was really blown away. I was shocked that a state worker that was there supposed to protect children would say something like that to my child. It made me wonder like how many other kids she have told this to, because if like she could just bluntly come out and say this to my child, this is not the first kid she has told this to.
Now, your 14-year-old was there because you needed help with her, right? And so you turned to the state for help.
Correct. And we agreed, me and the CPS agreed for them to take conservative.
And Mike, hearing a story like this, where a state worker tells a child to go out and prostitute to earn money for food, your thoughts on this?
I have the same concern as Keisha, which is, could this possibly be the one and only time this has ever happened? Has anybody ever interviewed the hundreds of girls who've been placed in hotels all across Texas for the last few years by CPS? Do we need to revisit whether they even need to be placed in hotels? That seems like an accident waiting to happen at best.
Absolutely.
So I also hope there's no retaliation against Keisha or her daughter for speaking up. Her daughter has been moved a few times in the last few days, and I hope they're not messing with her. Hopefully there'll be a safe, secure place that's stable, and she won't be exposed to this anymore. But I'm as worried about the systemic issues as her specific case.
And, you know, listening to that state worker and the tone that she had with your daughter, Keisha, and Mike, you can join in on this as well, it almost felt like a damn recruiter.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I felt like she was trying to recruit girls. Young.
Let me pause that. Yeah, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Danielle, you talking about it. Yeah, you hit on it. I would think that I think that there's some truth to that, because many of the CPS workers, well, you know what? I'm not going to get in say that, because it would be wrong on my part. Let me stop myself. I don't know how much a CPS worker makes offhand. You do work for the state, which means your salary is set, but it would not surprise me if some, I'll just put it that way, if there are some, and I'm speculating, CPS officers who who actually work with sex traffickers and prostitute these girls and get a percentage by it. That does not surprise me. Yeah, we have to do better with rebellious teenagers. So she wanted some food, and to get some food, she encourages this girl to be a sex worker, to be a prostitute. They don't make much money. I didn't think they did because you work for the state. So you talk about making $35,000 per year. Let's call it that. They don't make a lot of money. Of course, they get their insurance. It's 30, according to this, ZipRecruiter, Child Protective Services salary is $37,563. That's in the state of Louisiana. So you're basically making $18 an hour. That's not a lot of money. You take away taxes. Good luck paying a house note on that. So I think that there is some truth to this based off of that. I'm not indoctrinating every CPS worker by saying that. But yeah, it is peanuts.
Young girls, like she trying to be a madam. And that don't sit well with me. You know, that's not the way that you talk to anybody, especially a young teen that's already going through problems, that's already having some issues.
Yeah, I mean, I did get that kind of groomer overtone. And it also seemed like she knew that she could capitalize on the fact that a lot of these kids are not having their needs met. They're not being fed enough. I know Keisha had to take groceries over to her daughter before this happened.
That's ridiculous, especially when you reach out to the state and the state has agreed to give them the help. Now, what's the status of this worker now, Mike?
So my understanding is that she's no longer with the agency, but I haven't heard anything further than that. I don't know if other workers have been interviewed. I don't know if they have done interviews or welfare checks on these girls. Not only should somebody be talking to them, they need medical exams and everything that goes with this kind of behavior.
Yeah, they need to backtrack on this worker and make contact with every child that she's had contact with to see what she may have told them or what she may have told them to do, as in the case with this 14-year-old. So, Keisha, have you received any type of an apology from CPS or the state for this behavior?
From the commissioner, Miss Jamie, but no, I have not.
Okay. And Mike, obviously you feel like this could be a bigger problem. What do you think state lawmakers need to do in order to get a handle on this situation? There were allegations earlier this year about how CPS children were being treated, foster care children as well.
Well, you make a good point, because what the federal judge overseeing CPS brought up was that these kids were susceptible at the home in Bastrop for being a victim of third-party prostitution or solicitation. Now it seems like instead of going forward, we're kind of going backwards, and now it's CPS itself or their employees are a part of this. So to answer your question, I'd like someone to tell the legislature what kind of screening procedures they have for those who are working for CPS, those who are going to be around kids. It's
I don't know what happened to the rest of the story.
And we begin tonight with a story that you'll only see here on Fox. An employee with child
was to do something like this to my child, I would be bashed. I would be called a horrible parent. I would lose my kids.
Basley filed a formal complaint with CPS.
This should not happen to girls in their care. This should not happen. This is unacceptable.
Jamie Masters, the commissioner of CPS, came to Houston to personally apologize to Basley and her daughter.
I've never seen that happen before, where a commissioner of CPS comes in from Austin just to apologize about something that's horrible that's been done to a child and a parent involved with CPS.
I do not believe that that was genuine. I really don't.
It's bad enough if it's one rogue caseworker. It concerns me that it may be bigger than that. And they need to investigate this and make sure that it's not just one person. And they've got to figure out a way to protect these kids.
CPS statement. DFPS is aware of the video and has taken action. The person in the video, employed as CPS support staff, was dismissed from her position August 10th. The safety and appropriateness with which children in care must be treated is our paramount concern. Nothing less will be tolerated. Reporting live from the Southwest Side, Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
So I don't know what happened to her father, but I think that's a damn good question because most of these kids may not have don't have their fathers in the home. They come from dysfunctional families. So that's a situation that we're seeing. Sadly, when we look at stories like this, and I posted an article. This is from the Texas Tribune, where they talk about this story. Of course, that CPS worker who was fired, but they also mentioned something else. Sorry, I had to cancel. I don't want to come up. Yeah. So this is it says here, this is only the latest controversy to befall the state's child welfare department, which has been under years of scrutiny for its inadequate care of some of the state's most vulnerable children. A federal judge has repeatedly slammed the state for failing to properly punish or shut down unsafe child care placement facilities. United States District Judge Janice Jack has also criticized the state for its inadequate background checks of caregivers, according to the San Antonio Express News. A quarter of children who DFPS identified as victims of sexual abuse were victimized or re-victimized after entering foster care, according to court-appointed watchdogs. They say Texas ordered a state-contracted shelter to close in March after a court revealed that staff members were trafficking the children in their case. There we go. There's your answer. That's it. So that proves it. 9 staff members are accused of subjecting 7 children to sexual and physical abuse, neglectful supervision, and medical neglect. One caretaker accused of selling nude photos of 2 teenage victims of sexual abuse at the shelter was previously fired from a nearby state juvenile facility for having inappropriate relationships with children in her care, state records show. And most recently, Jack ordered Texas to develop a plan to remove foster care kids from out-of-state facilities run by organizations facing a federal child abuse investigation. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, the moral to this: stay ready, be ready, get married if you have children. If you're not ready for children, if you're not ready for kids, don't have any. Because when they're part of broken up families like this, these are some of the, unfortunately, these are some of the consequences. Not that it's anybody's fault but the perpetrator. Don't get me wrong, but these are some of the consequences of broken families. These are people, and I'm a criminal defense lawyer myself, but if they're saying they proved that there was sex abuse going on in Texas in these facilities, these scumbags need to be locked up because they're scum. No, they're not protecting these kids, and that's what that worker was doing, more than likely. Women got to make better decisions. Men got to make better decisions. I think you're missing I know that, Bella, but you're missing what I'm saying, misconstruing it. When you have these broken down families where when there's no stability and they bring a child in the world, They bring children in the world. They're not ready to be a husband. They're not ready to be a father. And the father is not home. There's no way a father, and I'm standing on what I'm saying. There's no way a father would have allowed, a real father would never have allowed that. Not even a mother. Now, I'm not trying to come off like I'm blaming this woman. I'm not, because the state took the children, took the girl out of her house. But sadly, this is the type of stuff that happens to kids. If you go watch the movie Memory with Liam Neeson, it's on pay-per-view. The movie is 100% is about sex trafficking in kids, and how it's this one big conspiracy that's involved. It's a conspiracy that's involved. I'm not gonna give away the movie, but you need to see it if you haven't. Yeah, men choose who they, women choose who they open their legs to, and men choose who they're gonna stick their thing in when they pull their pants down. Yeah, if you don't live with two parents, you lack things. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing. If there's no stability, that's what happens. I think men and women make a choice. Well, men don't know a woman's biological, men don't know their woman's biological clock. Most of the time when you're having sex, you're not thinking about that. But I think men and women make a choice who they get when they want to impregnate someone. But I hope these kids get justice, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to move on to my final topic. I got to talk about this. This is a little more light news, but it's sad. Harry Styles, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Please donate to the channel in Cash App. Harry Styles, ladies and gentlemen, the king of Pop Tarts. Now, I put that there for a reason, and I think you want to know why I did that. This is the Rolling Stones cover. Now, hold on. I call him the king of Pop Tarts. He's called the king of Pop. No, he's the king of Pop Tarts. Now, if you can look very closely in at so you're right. Now, this is, see if I can zoom in. Hold on 1 second, please. I'm going to try and zoom in. Do you see what this says here? Or better yet, it's not letting me zoom. Where it says Harry Styles, how the new king of pop set the musical world aflame. Now, this is trending on Twitter on August 22nd. And many people, I want to say most foundational Black Americans, we saw this. And I think even you don't have to be a foundational Black American. People who know music were taken aback. If music is good in your soul, you know that. They were taken aback by seeing this garbage. Now, I want to contrast this Rolling Stone magazine with this Rolling Stone magazine that was done back in the 1980s. Now, this was in 1983, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm sorry, not that. Why does it do this crap to me? So this is my final free article, by the way. Now you can contrast that with this. This is the king of pop, the true king of pop in all his glory. Michael Jackson, Life as a Man. Now, I don't find it a coincidence that right next to this picture of Michael Jackson on issue number 589 of Rolling Stone magazine, February 17th, that the #1 topic that's trending is how Harry Styles became the world's most wanted man. They did not ask Gavin Richard if I wanted to be Harry Styles. Because frankly, I don't even know who the fuck Harry Styles is. I'm being honest. I have never heard of Harry Styles in my life. I'm wrong because I'm in music and I know stuff. I've heard the name, I should say. I thought it was Styles at first from Teen Wolf movies. But they crowned him on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine as the new king of pop. Now, they have for years, as you know, and this is what white America does. They have always tried to take black men and they've always liked to take black men and do something, to them because they can't stand the fact that they want to take away their credit. And they can't stand the fact that these men were black men, like your Michael Jackson or your your Sam Cookes, your James Browns, who understood the business side of the game as well, of music. They couldn't accept the fact that those men were smart. They were black men that were educated, that were smart, and understood the business side of the game. Ray Charles, too. But Michael Jackson broke all kinds of records that still have yet to be broken. Now, I'm just going through and I'm showing you different articles that I just saw here. Like this is Michael Jackson on this is Michael Jackson on the cover of Rolling Stone in 1984, 1983, 1987. 1971. He was, there was a time at one point, most people may not know this, but Rolling Stone magazine did not put black men on the covers of your Rolling Stone. And Michael Jackson, I believe, of course, not just being the first black artist to have his music videos played in rotation on MTV, music television, which was segregated, I believe he was also the first black American to actually grace the cover of your Rolling Stone. And I find it to be an insult that they would actually put Harry Styles as the new king of pop. And let's not forget they even did it with Lil Nas X, but Lil Nas X faded out because he's a cream puff. And so they call him the new king of pop. The old one never left. Now look how they guard Elvis. Elvis Presley, who is Michael Jackson's father-in-law at one point, as you know, he actually had he had black songwriters that were writing some of his music. And one of those men was Otis Blackwell. He wrote All Shook Up and Love Me Tender and Fever. Yeah, Elvis stole his voice even from a black man. It was a black man he admired, that he looked up to, that he would sing after. Elvis was imitating these guys. He imitated Otis Blackwell. Even Elvis Presley called Little Richard his idol and said he was the greatest. You look at this, I want to share this with you. I just did a Google search, Little Bussy X, Little Nasty X. Nigga was twerking on the devil. Freak. But let's look at this. Why do you see all of these articles? Why do people hate Elvis? Well, this man is Otis Blackwell. He was
they showed him the song, and
Elvis, they would play the song through. Yeah.
And then he recorded the tune, as it was.
Now, we were talking about this afternoon. Is it true that when he heard you performing the material, that he would imitate your style when he recorded the song?
Well, they did come out very close to the demos that he did.
Yeah. And did you feel funny about him imitating so closely what you were putting on tape, or not?
Well, no, I felt a little funny the first time, but after he sold 4 million, I didn't.
Yeah, it takes the sting out of it, I guess. Sure. Now, did you ever meet Elvis Presley?
No, I never met Elvis.
How many years were you writing songs for him?
Well, I had signed up with him on the contract to be a writer of Justice Company for 5 years.
Uh-huh. And in that time, you never met him. Why was that?
I never met him. The early part of the what we were doing, I never wanted to meet him. I didn't want to meet him at the time. I wanted to, but didn't at that time. We had something I felt that was going pretty good. I thought as long as my songs were getting over tuned and he was doing them the way that I would like for them to be done, in a sense, we had met.
Yeah. So you actually worried about messing up the chemistry by meeting the man physically?
Well, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever perform in those days?
No, when I was about 18, 19 years old, I used to sing, but I decided not to do it when I found out that you could make a good money writing songs.
Yeah, doing all right. But you have now an album called Let's Talk About Us, Otis Blackwell, and you're going to do a song. Is it from the... No, I know what you're going to do tonight. Yeah, tell the folks what you're going to be singing here.
Well, we're going to do Don't Be Cruel.
Yeah.
The album is about some songs that I had done. There are a lot of the songs that he had recorded and some that he had accepted but never got into the studio to do.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it. And this will be Don't Be Cruel, as it was initially written by Mr. Otis Blackwell. Otis, go on over there and do this.
I'm not going to play the performance because I want him to give me a copyright strike, but this is the man who he imitated. One of the men, actually. Maybe I could play a snippet of it. Hold on.
A year old, I can't be found. She's home all alone. And if you can't come around, at least just telephone. Don't be cruel to a heart so true.
You can hear Elvis's influence in that. Now, interesting backstory on that right quickly is that Elvis's song publishers, Hill and Range, brought that song to record him. And Blackwell was more than happy, I'm reading from Wikipedia, to give up 50% of the royalties and a co-writing credit to Presley to ensure that the hottest new singer around covered it. But unfortunately, Blackwell sold the song for $25, and he said that in an interview with American Songwriter. So he sold it, and sadly, he I don't know if he made any money from it, but $25 compared to the 4 million records it sold. Now, he did that. All Shook Up. He wrote that song. But yeah, Blackwell wrote the song. Now, let me go back. Let's go back to this. Now, I want to shout out to my man, Taj Jackson, because Taj, and I've reached out to him. Taj wants to come on the show, and we're trying to set something up. I'm going to reach out to him because it would be a perfect time to have him come on the show. Now, you know, Taj is the nephew of Michael Jackson. He is Tito's, I believe he's Tito's, I think he's the middle child. Yeah, I think he's the middle child because his brothers are Terrell and TJ. And I think TJ is the, Terrell is the youngest. And yeah, Terrell's the youngest. I think TJ is the oldest. No, wait. I'm sorry. Taj is the oldest. Taj is the oldest. Okay. Taj is almost 50. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, Taj is the oldest Jackson, at least Tito Jackson. And Taj struck back. Thank God. Thank you, Taj. Thank you. Get rid of this moistness. Help us. Save us. Taj struck back and says he does not consider your Harry Styles to be the new king of pop. My man put it on the line. Thank you. Defend your uncle. That's what you got to do. There is no new king of pop. You don't own the title at Rolling Stone and you didn't earn it. My uncle did. Decades of dedication and sacrifice. The title has been retired. No disrespect to Harry Styles. He's mega talented. Give him his own unique title. Now, it was brought to my attention that the title King of Pop has been trademarked by the Jackson estate. So if they wanted to, I'm not a copyright trademark attorney, but I do know there is something called trademark infringement. If they wanted to, obviously, is that infringing on Michael Jackson? Can the estate sue Rolling Stone magazine? It's possible. It's not unlikely. I'm gonna reach out to Taj to have him come on the show. It's very possible they could do that. Absolutely. So Rolling Stone has been disrespecting Mike for a long time. They did not allow, as I stated before, blacks on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. And I'm gonna have to do a separate video about the history of Rolling Stone and just racism in music industry, in business. And yes, there were blacks songwriters, there were black music publishers that were able to still function in this dangerous world because, as you know, the music industry is a small business, and it's a small community, but it is very lucrative. And if you look at the history of the mafia, even being involved in the music industry with payola, threatening record label owners and so forth, dangling artists outside windows. That actually happened. What you saw in the 5 Heartbeats, that actually is a real thing that happened to Jackie Wilson once. I was asking for his paper. So that stuff does go on. I know a brother by the name of Clyde Otis III. Maybe most people don't know who that is, but Clyde Otis, his father was Clyde Otis Sr. And Clyde Otis actually was, or Clyde Otis II, I should say. He actually had written over 800 songs by the time he had passed away. Mr. Otis was he died back in 2008, so he's been deceased for a while, but he created his own record music publishing company called the Clyde Otis Music Group. And some of the songs he wrote, just so you guys would know, he had a songwriting team with Brooke Benton and Belford Hendricks, and they wrote the hit song, It's Just a Matter of Time, which is still a popular song, Endlessly, So Many Ways, Kitty-O, and the Boll Weevil song. Those are songs he wrote. He also wrote This Bit of Earth, which was a hit for Dinah Washington. But point I'm bringing up with this, he was one of the first black A&R executives at a major record label, which was Mercury Records. And he founded his own music group called Clyde Otis Music Group. Well, did you know that at one point when he did this, he actually had received threats from people from doing this, to keep him from doing this? Because this is very lucrative. It's Just a Matter of Time, which was a hit for Brooke Benton. It's a popular song, but if you remember, Randy Travis did version for country music. Glenn Campbell had done versions of it. Sonny James. All of those were hits. You know, Randy Travis's version was a big hit in '89. They actually wrote this for Nat King Cole, but because Benton wanted to be a singer and Otis had become an A&R executive at Mercury Records, he asked Nat King Cole to hold off on it, which he did, and it became his hit. I heard Berry Gordy, when he did Motown, he was actually he had been threatened, according to what Judge Joe Brown was saying on his show. He was being threatened over Motown so they could get a percentage of the royalties from the music. You know, Motown was the largest, most successful, uh, not just business, black business, but I believe it was the most successful independent business at that time in the 60s. It certainly was the most, uh, certainly the most lucrative black business at one point from the 1960s to the 1980s because the music industry was killing. They were slinging out hits. They called it Hitsville, USA, because all they did was hits. And of course, Michael being part of the Motown family. I'm just really disgusted by this. But Rolling Stone disrespecting Michael Jackson, yeah, we're not gonna let that slide. Shout out to Taj. We're gonna reach out to Taj. I'm gonna see if he can come on the show soon. He definitely wants to come on, but I love to have him come on and talk and just top it up. You know, I know y'all would love to hear about his family, how he's doing. I know he had a baby not too long ago. Yeah, that's always been speculated. We've heard about that. Yeah, they wanted Clyde Otis to not, but he wasn't the type of man to do that. Clyde Otis was a Marine too. So we're gonna wrap it up, y'all. But you know, Rolling Stone, fuck y'all. Hell with y'all. Keep disrespecting our idols, our icons. Michael Jackson is the king of pop. Bill Cosby is one of the kings of comedy, and Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest basketball players that ever played the game. Today would have been his 44th birthday, and we want to send a special birthday to number 24, Kobe Bryant. God love you. Rest in peace to you, to Gigi, and all the other souls that perished. But happy birthday, brother. All right, happy heavenly birthday. Computer robots, you coming in late. Smash up the likes, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not, please donate to the Cash App, the PayPal. This channel is not monetized, so any contributions you can give for me to come on and give my viewpoints, I appreciate it. I'd ask that you all would donate. If you like to advertise, we always have our email there for advertisement. Subscribe to the Patreon. I have to, and I've been meaning to. I got to put some of my comedy videos up. But speaking of comedy, we have a comedy show coming up, ladies and gentlemen. It will be on, tickets are still available on Eventbrite. You still have time to go and get your laugh on. Get tickets right now on Eventbrite if you're in the New Orleans area. It doesn't make sense if you're not in New Orleans, but anywhere in the Louisiana area, I want you to purchase tickets to Get Your Laugh On at the Well, ladies and gentlemen. We've had an increase in sales. It's actually been going up as we speak right now. People have been supporting it. People buying tickets because we got the great Mark Caesar, my man from New Orleans, who's going to be headlining along with some other comedians like Chew Boo, Terry Scott, Kyron Hargrove, and Brandon Haynes. Guys, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great show. So we might have a special, we might have a couple people stop by as well. But yeah, people are asking about it. People are coming in. There's still tickets to get at the Well. It's going to go down. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be comedy night at the Well. Get your laugh on, ladies and gentlemen. And yours truly will be hosting, and I'm the host, of course, with the most. So, without further ado, let me just share that with you. No event, no computer robots. It's not. Let me just share this with y'all. So, yeah, go right now. Get your tickets. Get your laugh on, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's a handsome face right there. So, it's going to be a great night of comedy, seeing these brothers. So, yeah, get your laugh on. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, another thing I want you to do is you can buy some Creole seasoning blends. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Noni goes great with every dish. Computer robot, since you're on, let me ask you, how has been the book? Have you finished it? Are you reading it still? You can message me if you like, if you finished it. Yeah, hit me up in the private message. Yeah, I had ordered Top Gun Maverick. Y'all need to watch that, man. That movie is good. Tom Cruise is 60 and still making billion-dollar projects. Shout out to him, even if he comes off creepy sometimes. No, I like Tom. All right, y'all. Noni's Creole seasoning blends, and also we have donations to the Cash App, the PayPal. Please support me. Also, of course, by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., the destruction of due process in the United States. Andrew Wyatt said here, I'm going to post a video. You go look at it. He said, hands down, this book was excellent. And it was the definitive book on what happened with Bill Cosby's trial. You need to finish and read that and order it on Kindle. It's actually better than buying it on paperback, but I'll make a paperback version for everyone soon. All right, let's go and get out of here. Of course, you can support us by buying our music. Got it like such as Video Soul, which is on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. And of course, got to get on up. So as we do always, ladies and gentlemen, as it's time to get on, we've gotten on down. Now it's time to get on up. I'll holla. Peace. See you all on Thursday.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide. baby, it's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Bye, Ernie. Bye, Shaq. Bye, Kenny. I'll see you on Thursday. Other than that, if y'all don't see me, it would be uncivilized, just like street clothes.